Buonasera. Sono Sophie, sono francese. I want to speak in English. I think it's better for me. Okay, today I will talk about James Turrell. I chosen this artist because for me he manipulates natural and artificial light like a magician. But who is James Turrell? James Turrell was born into a Quaker family in Los Angeles in 1943. I think you don't know really what is Quaker. Quaker is a member of a Christian group called the Society of Friends, which doesn't have formal beliefs, but they are very, very strongly opposite to the violence and the war. After completing a degree in perceptual psychology, he continued in art in the University of California. Okay, how has he become fascinated by light? As a child, Turrell developed an interest in cosmological phenomena, and his father is an aeronautical engineer. Turrell got his pilot's license at 16 years old. And flying this secret mission over Tibet and the Himalaya exposed him to change in vision at high altitude. I choose to put some quotes because I think it's more interesting. I like this quotation from Turrell, where he says that importance of his work it's your visual perception, and that it's almost the basis of his project. His material. It's a little overview. Just we have to remember that James Turrell it's very famous in the world, and he has always exhibited in a famous place in the field of art. James Turrell is a light sculptor. So now I have to explain how he works. I can read this sentence. My work is more about your seeing than it's about my seeing. Also, it's a product of my seeing. I'm also interested in the sense of presence of space. That is space where you feel a presence, almost an entity, that physical feeling and power that space can give. Firstly, we must understand with this quiet that his work is in space. Space, it's important. And that he seeks your presence and your feelings. But we will study why the viewer is important in the work of James Turrell and what are the characteristics of his art. Firstly, space, scale, and architecture. It's three words really important. James Turrell acts on the space, on the depth, in the natural environment and the urban, to make appear the light. He builds structure, installation, sculpture in a very fastidious way, and no detail is left to chance. Another characteristic is the land art. For example, with the Rodin crater. The land art is defined as the creation of artistic forms, often on a large scale, using local natural materials such as earth, sand, or rock, also called earth art. Gestural, yes, Gestural, as I explained with his quotes, play with your perception in the face of light. The objective of TURRELL is not purely visual, it's also mental and tactile. The body and the mind are very important for his project. He works on the sensation, the perception of the light. Also, TURRELL works a lot with monochrome. For example, with this project, Beani, when you see the television, you don't see the image, but just the color. And he say it's the same. For example, when you see the weather on the TV, the dominant color is blue. We can compare some monochrome with them of Yves Klein, for example. And TURRELL use but I think it's more important with TURRELL because he uses the three dimension. Here I have represented the senses which, in my opinion, participate in your interaction with TURRELL works. We have to know it's the psychology and science. It's very, very important in the work of TURRELL. When he studies, he discovered Merleau-Ponty. It's a French philosopher, and for TURRELL, it's a very a good experience, and he learned how he can create an experience physical and at the same time spiritual. After that, I chosen to study more specifically his major work, Rodin Crater. And it's a work in progress because it's actually not finished. Where is located? Rodin Crater, located in the Peyton Desert region of northern Arizona. It's a big crater, and you have some. It's a beautiful picture. For the story begins when James TURRELL discovered this place by flying over it with a plane. In 1977, TURRELL bought the Rodin Crater because it's a big investment. To finance this major project, you have a great collector of contemporary art and some different foundations who help him to buy it. You have to know Rodin Crater. It was inspired by the Hopi culture. Hopi culture, it's an Amerindian group that live in the northeastern Arizona. These rooms, the rooms of the OP, it's some place of retreat and meeting. These people live in desert, in isolation, that allows them to have a closer relationship with nature. To understand the space created, we need to define what is a sky space. There are spaces that allow you to see certain fragments of the sky, day and night, intended for cosmic connection. In the Rodin crater, you have 6 places, and in some you have 21 space for visualization, and you have 6 tunnels for there's a link between the different spaces. Here you can see, from it's my favorite part, Alpha tunnel. It uses the natural light and the architecture. It's very interesting. Also different parts with the skyscape. Every parts are not really finished. You can see it's also some projects. For the characteristic, the wall of Rodin crater are just white, with nothing or form other than that of space. Inside, you don't have humidity. It's between 17 and 18 degrees. You have a lot of technical details. For example, the acoustic, because for him it's really important if you don't have some noise. To create this, he asked some astronomers, and inside you have specific parts where when you can see, for example, solstice, or it's a very technical part. And it's a famous project because it's a magical experience, and it's like summary of everything.
The discovery of Rodin crater, what prompted that?
I decided it was now time to go do what I really thought I should do. And I had received a Guggenheim grant, so I used that to fly all the western states. These are these spaces that are built to get you up into the sky and then have some way of viewing that sky especially.
When did you secure Rodin crater?
I had a lease on it in '76 and actually purchased it in '79. So that it took 3 years to actually buy it because it wasn't really for sale.
They're almost geographic framing devices.
Yeah, these are geological formations that I really found perfect for that.
We're talking very much about the idea of landscape in your work, and earlier we were talking about the idea of the West.
Yes. Well, the West is also where this work was formed. So this is the work that luxuriates in space and kind of came from the West in the sense that we had much less expensive space here. I'm interested in this landscape without horizon, and that we're moving toward this new landscape and living in it, and you better be prepared for no up, no down, no left, no right. You have no way to know which way is up, and so you have to really learn to negotiate this new landscape that we've moved into. Same is true in space, and there we've even removed gravity. This is the world we're moving into, and it's very much analogous to the topology in cyberspace. We've actually moved our lives into this territory.
Much of the kind of language of your work is about the empowerment of the viewer.
This is for the viewer, and they actually form it. You know, I've always thought it was something where I use the material light to work the medium of perception.
Okay, I think in the video you can see really the project and the different tunnels, and for the solstice it's the same, because in the picture it's I think it's reduce the project. Okay, in conclusion, Rodin Crater, it's the culmination of all his research. Because firstly, he played with space, volume, depth, scale to promote the perception of light. This project is indeed the rock of land art. His rock can be considered an earth rock. Also, this work focuses on the perception of light. In fact, it's a lonely place based in the silence, and you have to go alone, and it's to discover the sky. It's a time where you are in solitude, and you can discover. It's also in this rock a link with the monochrome, for example, with the blue of the sky. Moreover, this rock shows a great psychological study, because it was inspired by the OP culture, but also for the Catholics, the sky represents the word of God. And finally, James Turrell built the largest observatory with the naked eye. He created a precise astronomical work that can be called scientific. It's okay. I have represented a trip of people go to discover the Rodin Crater. We are not just, okay, this is my opinion, we are not just facing a canvas, but the world around us. It's the rediscovery of yourself, but also of your nature, of why we exist. Firstly, I chosen this artist because I'm fascinated by the sky, because it represents what one does not master, and because it's a place of meditation. For me, the discovery of this artist was really rich. He onboard the reflective artist who we know his work seeks to create a link with the audience. He uses also scientific and psychological tools in order to bring contemporary man closer to his natural environment. And he shows us the sky as we have ever looked at it when we just have to raise your head to contemplate it. It also shows the importance of light and its powers, which in the daily, it's the same for the daily, but I think we lost the value of light. And I think it's the same in this course. We learn, now we know the light, it's a factor of understanding, valorization, aesthetic, and it's very fundamental for your well-being. The bibliography, and thank you.